Today, we're really getting into something significant, a real moment in sports broadcasting, the end of the NBA on TNT.
Yeah, it felt like an era closing. We've been looking at sources, mainly an article that really captured the emotion of it all, but also the business side too.
Right. So our mission here is to unpack that. We want to explore those feelings, the ones that were so visible, but also dig into the huge business deal behind it.
And maybe the biggest question for a lot of people listening, what's next for the Inside the NBA guys, that crew everyone loves?
Let's just dive right in, because that final broadcast, it was really something.
It really was. So picture it. Saturday night, Indiana versus New York just finished their Eastern Conference Finals game.
And boom, that wasn't just the end of the game. It was it. The very last NBA broadcast on TNT ever.
And all eyes just snapped to that desk, didn't they? To the core four, Ernie Johnson, Shaq, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley.
Mount Rushmore, yeah.
And the source we read said emotions just ranged widely and freely. You could tell it wasn't just another show ending. It was personal. Deeply personal.
Oh, you absolutely felt that. Especially watching Ernie Johnson's final sign-off. He was visibly struggling.
Yeah, fighting it back.
And then he gets out that line, that very specific final sentence. I'm proud to say for the last time, thanks for watching us. It's the NBA on TNT.
But it was after the words, wasn't it? His actions.
Exactly. Turning away from the camera, placing the microphone down on the desk so deliberately, and then getting up from that set for the last time. Wow. It just spoke volumes.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't just contained to the studio, which I thought was interesting.
Right, like the Indiana coach, Rick Carlisle.
Yeah, totally unprompted. He just won a massive playoff game.
Yeah.
And he takes time in his press conference to basically give a tribute, called TNT's whole run fabulous, unbelievable.
And said he was sad to see it go. That tells you something, doesn't it? How much that broadcast meant, even to people inside the league, coaches, players. Not just us watching at home.
Definitely. It shows how embedded they were.
So, okay, those goodbyes were tough. But, like always, behind these big emotional moments, there's usually a pretty big business reason.
Almost always. And that's the case here. Why no more NBA on TNT? Simple, really. The league's new media rights deal, it kicks in next season.
And this deal is, well, it's huge.
Oh, it's staggering. We're talking 11 years. And the number is at least $76 billion.
Yeah.
Billion would it be?
Which is just a massive jump from the last deal. Shows you how valuable live sports are right now.
Absolutely. And it shakes things up. So ABC and ESPN, they're still in. But NBC is coming back to the NBA after, what, decades?
Yeah, a long time. And Amazon Prime Video is jumping in, too. A totally new partner for the league.
So the bottom line for viewers, for you watching at home, is simple. No more NBA games on TNT starting next season.
And that meant some practical changes, too, like the NBA Finals will now be on ABC. It really redraws the map of where you find the games.
It really does. And it makes you appreciate the run they had. Turner Sports, they first got an NBA package way back in 1984.
Wow, 84.
But the games have been specifically on TNT since 88, when the network launched. So yeah, nearly 4 decades. That's a long time.
Okay, so we have the emotional farewell, we have the massive business deal, but the immediate question everyone had was, what about the show? Inside the NBA. Ernie, Chuck, Kenny, Shaq.
Right. And here's the good news. The silver lining for fans. The show itself, it continues.
Oh, okay. So it's not disappearing.
Nope. It's moving. It'll be on ESPN and ADC starting next season. And crucially, this is the big one. The core four are staying together. Johnson, O'Neal, Smith, Barkley. The band is staying together.
That feels vital, doesn't it, for that show? Their chemistry is everything.
It really is. And the source mentioned they'll still do most of the shows from Atlanta, which probably helps keep things feeling somewhat normal, behind the scenes.
And Shaq had something to say about it, right? In typical Shaq fashion.
Oh, yeah. He definitely didn't hold back. He said, even though the name changes, the engine is still the same. And then, some classic Shaq language.
Yeah.
All right, coming to expletive around. We're taking over, okay?
Huh. Okay, so confidence is high.
Totally. He basically said, we're bringing it. Same show, different channel.
Yeah.
It shows they believe the magic is them, not the network logo.
Right. And that feeling, that sort of community, it wasn't just about those 4 guys at the desk. The final broadcast really highlighted that.
Yeah, the tributes they ran.
Yeah.
They included so many people. Past broadcasters, current analysts, everyone who'd been part of that TNT NBA world over the years.
It was like a history lesson, wasn't it? Seeing all those faces.
Absolutely. Names like Doug Collins, Hubie Brown, Dick Stockton, Cheryl Miller. Danny Ainge, John Thompson, Steve Kerr back in the day, Mike Fratello, Marv Albert.
Brian Anderson, Chris Webber, Candace Parker. The late, great Craig Sager, of course.
Just listing them.
Yeah.
It shows the incredible depth of talent that passed through there over almost 40 years. It's a real legacy.
And even the guys calling that final game, Kevin Harlan.
Legendary voice.
He had a really classy sign-off for the broadcast itself, talked about gratitude and happiness for what has been, called it an honor and a privilege, just really well put.
And Reggie Miller, who was working alongside him, he shared something really personal.
Yeah, what was that?
He basically said, look, in his whole professional life, he's only known two things: playing 18 years for the Pacers,
Right.
and working 19 years for Turner. Think about that. Half his working life tied to this one place covering the NBA.
Wow. That really puts it in perspective. It wasn't just a gig for these people.
Not at all. And Ernie Johnson, he made sure to shout out the crew, too, the people behind the camera, called them the best production crew in the business.
That's important.
Yeah, and he mentioned that because they're so good, a lot of them have already landed jobs with NBC and Amazon, which is great to hear. Shows the respect they command.
So let's circle back one last time to the core four. Their final thoughts on TNT. Kenny Smith summed it up pretty neatly, didn't he?
He really did. Just simple. This has just been a magnificent ride. Sometimes that's all you need to say, you know?
Yeah, perfect. And Charles Barkley always has something interesting to say.
Always. He gave this really heartfelt reflection. And he dropped a little nugget, said he actually thought about signing with NBC way back when, before he ended up choosing TNT.
No kidding, that's a fun what if.
Right, but his thank you felt so genuine. He thanked the NBA, the coaches, the players, and then TNT specifically. Said they gave him a magnificent life.
Use that word too.
Yeah, and just emphasize how lucky and blessed he feels. It really drives it home for these guys. This wasn't just a job, it was a life-defining thing.
Absolutely. So, okay, we've walked through the end of a massive era. The NBA on TNT is done. We felt those goodbyes. We looked at the huge media deal, changing everything.
But we also got that reassurance, right? That inside the NBA, the show, the core team, they're continuing, just on a new network home.
And it really reminds you, I think, that the sports you watch, the shows you love, they're not just content. There are huge business deals. Yes, billions of dollars flying around.
But they're built by people on relationships, history, dedication. Decades of it, in this case.
So here's the final thought, something for you to chew on. We've heard how deep the feelings were, how much this run on TNT meant to everyone involved, the crew, the staff, even coaches.
Right, it was more than just a network affiliation.
Exactly. So now they take that incredibly unique chemistry, that specific vibe they build over decades, and they move it to ESPN NBC, into a new landscape where NBC and Amazon are also major NBA players now. So the question is, how might that dynamic, that special feel of inside the NBA, subtly change or evolve, even with the same four guys being in a new environment after so long in one place? Surely things won't be exactly the same, right? What do you think those changes might look like next season?
Something to definitely keep an eye on. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.